Hello, welcome back. What I'm doing today is going to braze some cast iron. Why am I going to braze cast iron? Why do I even care about cast iron? Well, it's something I've, first of all, always wanted to know, and secondly, I need to work on this engine. That engine has a crack in it, and I want to try to fix it with brazing. So this is just sort of a trial. We're going to see how it goes. This is a brake cylinder, wheel cylinder, excuse me. I just bought from Napa for a job that I bought the wrong part, and I could take it back, but I have plans for this. I want to see how this goes. Now, this metal and this metal are two different metals. Well, this metal is American, this metal is probably from China, this metal was 40 years ago, this metal is probably recent. So it's not an entirely scientific experiment we're doing here, but the reason I'm doing this with a brake cylinder, get you squared away here so you can see, is because I want to know if I can braze this without warping it. How do I know it's not warped now? Well, look at this. This is a brake cylinder. It's pretty closely machined in there. If you take the piston, this is the piston that went with this brake cylinder. I'm covering the holes with my thumb here. And just sit the piston in. It goes down nice and slow. All right. Wonder if I can, let's see if I can figure out a way to show you that. Now, of course, I got to have the camera in my hand. So it's not going to go down as slow because I'm not covering these holes now. But whoops. But we're going to drop the piston in. I'm holding the piston against my workbench. The workbench is kind of this rubbery, what do you call it, belt, conveyor belt material. Anyway, just look at the piston's going to go down quickly at first, and then it's going to slow down once it hits the air. Get going. Let's try that again. I got a piece of crud in there. This is a very tight fit. Okay, do you see how it went real slow in the second part of it? Second part of the stroke, rather. See, that's the air slowing it down. That's a pretty tight fit. So my theory, my question, I don't really have much of a theory. My question is, can I braze this piece and still get this piston through? So that's what I'm trying to find out. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to take my angle grinder and clean off a clean spot here, and then I'll make a little V-notch, a little notch like I'm planning on notching that engine when I go in there to actually do the job properly. And then we're going to braze it. But let's, first things first, let's get that piece of cast iron cleaned up. I'll put this piston over here. Here we go. So there, it's pretty clean. I had to grind down to, past where the little pores are. You can still see some little specks of pores down there, but across here, it's pretty clean. So I'm going to go ahead now and put a little V-notch into it, or just some kind of a notch. Well, it was kind of hard to hold with one hand and notch with the other. There's a little notch right there. So what we're going to do, we're just going to braze it. Now I'm going to use a general purpose brazing rod, this guy right here, which is, bronze, which is what, copper and silver, I think it is. What's in bronze? Well, anyway, I'm not sure. So we're going to use a general purpose brazing rod. And I have my torch right here. We're just going to see how this goes. Let me get my very expensive goggles on here. And we'll fire off this torch. There it goes. Oh, I was going to degrease this thing first. Just make sure that it's as clean as can be. So we're going to have some brake cleaner. I'm just going to hit this. Just do that. Let me get the brake cleaner out of harm's way. Set it over here. And then just going to kind of wipe this off. Just make sure I don't have any, handprints on it or anything like that. Any oils from my hand. Okay. So can you still see that? Yes, you can. All right. So here we have our piece. Getting on my gloves, getting my brazing rod. Let's spark this guy up. Turn on my acetylene first. Hello. I don't know what kind of flame I'm going to need, so I don't know. We'll just start with that, I suppose. Let's see what happens. I'm just warming it up first. I don't know how hot I need to get this. I mean, I assume when you braze cast iron, just like any other metal, you got to get it red hot. My workbench is on fire. Let me change this a little bit. Get this from my lift over there, or my press rather. Let that sit on that. That looks better? Okay. Maybe now we won't set the place on fire. Let's find out. Spark this guy up again. Woo! Yeehaw. That's a little bit hotter than it was before. I don't know. We're experimenting here. Bear with me. Just going to warm it up first. I don't know if this is going to crack or warp or whatever. And when I'm brazing on that engine block, I'm surely not going to be able to warm up the whole thing. Yeah, that's getting red. I'm just trying to get a feel for how long I'm going to have to hold it there in any one spot to keep it red. All right, well, here goes. Wow, I'm all over the place. I think I had too much coffee this morning. All right. I think my finger's on fire. No, it's not. Okay. Well, not bad. Here, I'll give you a close look. I'm not going to touch it because it's hot. Okay. First one, not bad. Obviously need a little bit more control, but I'm going to let this cool off. I'm going to have some lunch, and then we'll take a wire wheel to it and see how it looks. Stand by. All right, you ready to see how we did? Man, I had some lunch, had me some chicken wings left over from the game with this blue cheese stuff my wife made. Good eating. All right, so here's the piece. It's cool to the touch. So let's hit it with a wire wheel and see what it looks like. Get that flux and stuff off of there. I'm going to put on my face shield here. I don't use the wire wheel without the face shield. Those little wires, they will go everywhere. All right, let's see how we did. Yeah, that's not great. Not great. So I did not get very much filling in here. Let's see if I can show you a little bit better. So it did work. That's one thing. It did work. We have that going for us. See if I can. So if you look right, and back up a little bit right there, I didn't get hardly any fill in there at all. That spot was okay. I got some fill into there. That spot is not great. And this is so-so. I got some fill in right here, but I definitely got a holiday going on right here. And definitely got nothing, not much happened right there. So this engine here is cracked. This is the start of it. It goes up behind these fuel lines and it ends right here. If I were to, braze it and it looked like that, I don't think that would seal against water. The coolant that's in there I think would be seeping out. So not bad for a first one, but definitely room for improvement. So now, here's the other thing I wanted to know. Clean this thing off. How is the round? Oh crap! Are you kidding me? Ah, damn it! I just dropped this piston. Well, all right. Let's give it a shot anyway. Here goes. So it's not going in there smooth. I really wish I hadn't have dropped it. Let me see about cleaning that out in there. So the piston goes through just fine. There's a little bit of debris in here. So let me clean this out. All right. The piston is clean. Okay. Oh, the piston goes through. Once I get it started, there we go. Yeah, piston goes through just fine. So it didn't warp enough to cause the piston to not go through. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to move this back over. That piece is warm. I'm going to try again to warm this up and try to fill that in a little bit better. Let's see if I can do better this time. Get the flammable material out of the way. And I realized that I had my back to the camera the whole time and it was impossible for you to see. So I'm going to try to fill in a little bit more along this side and a little bit more on the other side. Just try to do both ends just a little bit better. There goes Sparky. Okay. So the bronze is already flowing here. Let's try this side. Yeah, this is not pretty, that's for sure. I feel like I'm pushing the bronze out. Is it because the metal isn't hot enough? It is not the best technique. I think I need to work on my technique a little bit. I think I need to work a little bit more on heating the base metal and letting the metal heat the bronze instead of the other way around. I mean, in other words, heat the base metal and just touch the rod. Whoops, almost dropped it. Touch the rod to the base metal instead of using the flame to melt the rod. Use the base metal to melt the rod. I'm not doing a very good job of that. But, well, I guess we'll see. I can tell that it's not looking so great, but we'll let it cool off for a little bit and we'll see what's what. Stay tuned. Okay, and we're back. So let's hit this thing with a wire wheel. I can plainly see that I did not fix it, but let's clean it up here a little bit. All right, so still not quite cool enough to touch, but you can see here that I still have a void here, here, and all through here. So what I want to know is, what do I have to do to fix this? Let's give it another try. I'm going to hit it with the torch again, and well, try to fix it. I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time heating the metal before I actually heating the base metal before I actually add more bronze. You know what I might want to do instead? What if I ground all this off, cleaned it all off again with a grinder? I'm not actually going to get into the notch, but if I cleaned it all up with a grinder, maybe that'll be a better way to go. Get out the grinder again. We'll do this again. So now I'm sort of at the point where I'm pretending, what if I'm actually doing this on the tractor? What would I do? Well, if I boogered this up, I would get out the grinder, grind it off, and start again. So that's what we're going to do. Let's give it a try. Are we still recording? Yes, okay. I'll just set this down over here. We're going to clean this up a little bit, see what happens. Okay. So what we've got here, let's see if I can. So I ground it back down a little bit, and we got pretty good coverage right here. That's pretty solid. And we'll sort of point it up in the light so you can see. And that's pretty solid through there, not bad. But really here, here, and all through here, got no material. So let's see what it takes to get material in there. This is kind of interesting. All right, here we go, Sparky. Got a little debris in my nozzle here. Well, we'll give it a shot. Let's see what happens. I'm going to start with just seeing what it takes to fill in that first part. See if I can just heat up this metal, heat up the base metal enough to just fill in that first part. Get a consistent bead. I'm just coming on both sides of the notch, really. I think I'm boiling the bronze out of there. Wow, that looks like crap. Let's see if I can just fill it in. Am I going too hot, maybe? Maybe I'm making it too hot. Pull the torch back a little bit. That's better. I can tell it's better, but I sure would like to fill up that notch completely. What does it take? All right, let's look and see where we're at. That actually does look better. I think I got much better penetration. I think, filling. I think I did better. So let's let that cool off again, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, welcome back. I just put this in the vise and hit it with the grinder, and I'm pretty happy with what I see. I just worked on fixing this side of it. I know I have a void here, and this is all a mess over here. I just wanted to fix this side of it, and I used a lot more rod than I maybe needed to, but I got good, consistent fill all through here now. This all looks real good. So I even got a little bit of, well, that might be just some flux. But anyway, let's do my test with the piston and move this out of the way. Let's see if the piston still moves through. I think my initial problem was that I just simply wasn't heating the base metal enough. I wasn't letting the brazing rod kind of do its thing. I was melting the brazing rod with the torch, and you really want to let the base metal melt the brazing rod. Heat the base metal with the torch. Let the base metal, oh, that's still pretty hot. Let the base metal melt the rod. I think I was just getting it just straight up too hot, and I was getting it too hot, and I was just kind of blowing the filler out. So, okay, let's see. So the other thing I wanted to know. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with the fact that I can get it, and I can go back and fix it. I can simply grind it out and go back and fix it to get a nice, clean looking fill there. Obviously going to be doing a lot of grinding when work on that tractor. Anyhow, here's the test. I want to see if this thing is warped. I've obviously got a little bit of crud right there, but let's just see if it goes through. It did. It goes through. That's just a little bit of flux. Goes through pretty quickly. Let me see if I can hold this against the rubber. Oh, it's still pretty hot to. I can't hold it. Let me get thicker gloves. That's what I need. There we go. All right, let me see if I can make this. Oh, what happened? Got it jammed in there. Maybe I did warp it. I'm going to let this cool off for a little bit longer, and then we'll try it again. Stay tuned. I hit this with a flapper disc, a disc like that, instead of the wire wheel or the grinder, to show kind of a better, to show you better what I was looking for. So this was my first run, was in here, and I have this mess over here, but this side used to look like this. Okay, this was the side I was just working on. I was just working on this area, trying to heat the base metal and feed in the filler rod, and I got really good fill through here. You can see that we have steel here and filler here, and it even went out, run around and tried to fill in this area in here. So you can, I wanted to use the flapper disc to clean that up and show that it can be done. This was my goal. I wanted to see if this could be done. If not only I could do it, but I could booger it up and I could fix it. That was the key. So now let's do our little test. Remember from before, we put the little piston in. Now that I've dropped it on the floor, this might not be so great, but I want to see if this piece has warped. See if I could tell. It's a little tougher to get in here now. Oh, there it goes. It went down. It did go down. It went all the way through. It's got a little hang up right there. I wonder what that is. But yeah, it still goes through. So whatever warpage it had, whatever warpage it has, it is not enough to cause this piston to bind up, except right here at the very end. It gets hung up on something. I wonder what that is. Is it a piece of crud that's in there? I can't feel anything. But where I was putting most of my heat was down on this end. I didn't heat up this end very much. But it is definitely gets hung up there on something, right there. But once it gets past that, it goes just fine. Let me grab a flashlight and see if I can see anything in there. So this is really encouraging. So there seems to be a little speck of something. I can see it. Did I move it? No, I can't tell. I know this piston is getting harder and harder to. There it goes. Yeah, I think there was just a little speck of something in there. But it is slowly going down to the bottom. This is working just fine. So whatever sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, deformation from the heat is not enough to interfere with this piston. So I'm not going to worry about the deformation. What I want to do now, though, is find out what it takes to crack it. I don't see a crack in here either, by the way. I didn't hear a ping or a tick So I did not crack this piece, but I want to know what it's going to take to crack it. So what I'm going to do, I have this bucket. I have a bucket of water right down there. And what I'm going to do is heat this thing up, throw it in there, see if I can make it crack. While I'm doing this, I'm going to use this time to practice, see if I could fill that side in a little bit more, a little bit better, I should say. So I'm not wasting the, well, I'm not wasting anything. All right. Whoops. Still got some debris in the nozzle here. That's all right. Not going to worry about that right now. So I'm going to heat up this side. I'm going to try to apply what I learned on the other side. See if I can get more material in here. I think I had too much heat. I think I was going too hot. Okay, that looks better. Now, with that thing red hot, let's just throw it right in the bucket. And let's see what happened. Grab a paper towel. Where are my paper towels? So I got that thing red hot and then just dumped it in the bucket. It's definitely cool. It should have cracked. I see no cracks. I think I even got a better fill on this side. I don't see a crack. That is interesting. I threw it in a bucket, and I had assumed it was going to crack, but I don't see one. Let me hit this with the flapper, and we'll see what we can see here. Maybe I did a better job, maybe I didn't. Hard to say. I certainly got a lot more material on there. That is no doubt. Come on. Okay, so I think I'm still getting this too hot because all of my filler material ended up down here. And not very much of it got up here, but some did. Some definitely ended up right here. So that's a good thing. I'm getting better at it. But I definitely need to work on my heat. I'm getting this too hot. But what I've learned is it can be done. I can go back and fix it. And I'm not even going to worry about getting it warped or cracked, because if I can get this little piece red hot and still passes my little piston test, and I can throw it in a bucket and it won't crack, I think that's going to be a good thing. So that's it for this brief little series. I'm pretty happy with these results. Obviously, it's not perfect, but I've learned how to fix it. That's the important thing. There's still some water in there. I've learned how to fix it, and that's the important thing. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more. Pull this out of here. For more on this. That's what we're going to work on next. Get that thing going, and well, I mean, it is going, but get that thing all fixed up and fix that very long crack in there. I'm obviously going to have to take off the hood and take out those injection lines and what have you, but that's what we're going to do next. All right, well that's, oh, by the way, in case that engine doesn't work out, let me get my sweater out of the way. In case this engine doesn't work out, that's a 4213, 4.213 diesel. This tractor also came with a 4.213 gas engine. I have this engine as well. This is a gasoline engine. See, has spark plugs and a distributor. So if that engine doesn't work out, this engine is going in. And I'd kind of like to know, because this engine is really in my way. Anyway, thanks very much. Don't be shy about liking and subscribing. It's free to you and it helps me out a lot. Thanks for watching. Take care.